the people who have a lot of things. You're still doing down somebody else who's also struggling.
Robin Man. Robin Man.
You mean Robin Hood?
There we go.
Yeah.
Robin
the
Hood.
Petty criminals are not Robin Hood.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Maybe they're Robin Man.
Yeah, and even when they did hand out the cash, it wasn't...
ROBBIN, the Robin Man.
Welcome to Knit One Pew Pew. We are a cozy, nerdy knitting podcast where needles click and fandoms collide. And today we're going to talk about Spider-Noir, all things noir, and black and white versus color. But first, I'm Belle, and I am working on this very cool gray scarf. I know gray isn't very colorful, but I think what I'm going to do to it when I'm done is add some things into it, like knit some little flowers and bugs to put into it so it looks like a spider web, which is my goal here. Mom and I were talking, it looks more like chainmail, so maybe it'll be, fairy chainmail for Ren Fair would be kind of cool to wear.
Yeah, it would.
So we'll see where it's going, but this is actually a Trinity stitch on size 15 needles with sock weight yarn. I will link the tutorial that I used to learn how to do this stitch below, but do be aware she has a very small child in the back who likes to scream. Yeah, I had earbuds in. I wasn't ready for that. It was a lot of stimulus all at once.
All right, well,
okay.
All right.
Hi, I'm Mom, and I'm working on a project today that I made I started with a pattern that I liked, but I was improvising with the wrong size needle and the wrong size yarn, and I just didn't like how it was coming out. So I'm going to frog that, which means take it apart and start over.
Ribbit.
I went to my stash, and I got 2 worsted weight yarns, one in black and one in this gray and off-white. And so I'm making up this pattern as I go. It's a lace. I don't know if you can see the lace behind there. So anyway, that's that.
Hi, I'm Loyal, and I am continuing my knitting on the. I keep saying it. I think it's called the Times Square.
It's a city
pattern.
sock collection.
From the New York City sock collection from Knitting Expat, and it's a hand dyed yarn of Betsy. That's what I'm doing today.
I went and when I was looking for the link to put in the YouTube description for the last episode, she's got some cute socks. She really does.
But honestly, I purchased the whole. I bought it as the set, the New York sock collection, and I've knit 3 or 4 different ones with patterns. I like them.
Nice. What kind of heel does she use? I learned this is something you ask knitters.
So I usually, and her patterns do include a German short row heel, which is my preference in general. But I do for men often, because sock is for a dude, do a heel flap and gusset simply because I feel that guys have deeper heels.
Men tend to also be heel first walkers more than women.
Yeah, but like I feel like this distance, is more...
like the heel to the back of the heel?
Yeah,
like
so that's what you're doing. When
part.
you're doing the heel, that's what you're doing. You're doing the bit that goes around there. And so this is a heel flap and gusset heel. But her patterns include a German short row, which is a great for nice. All of the socks I knit for me have that German short row heel.
Go back on the hoop. See, this is what happens when I do something. I thought this won't be that complicated. Get back on there.
Oh, speaking of which, while we're still doing intro stuff, I got you a little something.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
And you can pick your color. I know you were having trouble with knit stitch counting.
Oh my gosh, Mom, that is so cute.
And you
just clicks.
Yeah, and then to clear it, you just press the little one. So, and it came in a plethora of colors.
This is the best thing. You guys don't understand how bad I am at counting rows and counting stitches. And when counting rows, I will also then be like 13, 31, 32. Oh my gosh.
And you can either...
I'm going to go with pink.
You can either wear it on your finger.
I'm going to go with pink. We've met.
You can either wear it on your finger. Or if you don't, you can pin it to your pants or...
Oh no, it's going on my finger. Yeah. I mean, I don't need to count the rows in this, but I'm gonna.
Yeah.
This is ingenious. Oh my gosh. So for those of you who may not know, I flip numbers, which is hilarious because I love math and I teach it. But get on there. But I was having to use like a tally counter on my phone. So I'd do a row and then I'd open my phone and I'd hit the button and then it breaks up the flow so bad. But this is fantastic. Oh my gosh. And it's so straightforward.
I got these on Amazon. It was like $6 for the whole thing.
I will
All of them.
definitely link it below and put in a picture, but I love it. I don't know which one's my camera. One of you is my camera. There we go. Here, you all get to see it. Oh, that is such a lifesaver. Thank you, Mom. Now when you guys see this, you'll know why I have this giant pink ring. It's very my vibe. I'll start coordinating outfits to it.
There you go.
Knitters might recognize it anyway.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
sure.
leave these up here and you can change with your styles.
What an absolutely, and also the person who was like, oh, I can fix this problem. Like, oh, I love the ingenuity of people. Spider-Noir recently premiered on Amazon Prime streaming. It is 8 episodes in black and white and color. It is very much a detective story with just a little bit of Spider-Man. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Spider-Noir's first appearance was in a comic book, and then he made his cinematic debut in the animated series Into the Spider-Verse with the Miles Morales Spider-Man. About 6 years later, they decided, hey, let's make this a live-action series, and began recording the Spider-Noir with Nick Cage, and I love it. I am a huge Nick Cage fan. I don't know where you guys stand. I know it's very controversial to say, because...
I just haven't seen him in that much. National Treasure?
Face Off.
No, I haven't seen that.
Some Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Nope.
That's not very good.
Ghost Rider.
Nope.
No, that didn't. I mean, I've not seen it. That didn't look good.
I liked it.
You liked it, so I might watch
Good,
it.
good. So I was gonna say, I just went with my gut feeling of just like, okay.
But see, I've been wrong that way too. When Nightmare Before Christmas was going to come out, and I was seeing the commercials, and I thought, oh, that doesn't look like my kind of thing at all.
Ah!
And then,
Sorry.
Honestly,
Sorry.
no, I hear it though.
Yeah.
No, I say ha because of how into it, Mom.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
my son
My
forced me
derisive
to watch
laughter.
it, and it's one of my favorite things.
I think David forced me to watch it too. And I was just
Really
like,
good.
that's not really my jam. Claymation, but it's a little, oh no, this is very much.
It was great.
Yeah.
I love Jack Skellington. I love
Claymation was my
Sally.
jam. I like claymation.
I actually marginally knew the guy who played the mayor. So,
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
perks. I will say, it goes. I love Nick Cage. As a Nick Cage fan, I love Ghost Rider. But part of what I love about Nick Cage is his only ability to overact. Like, he doesn't, there's no moderation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So,
then you definitely saw that in this series.
yes, you do.
Because he was either incredibly understated or you're just like, would you like some ham with this cheese?
But I love that sort of making choices and just chewing on the scenery. It's
And he did. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when he played another, like when he was pretending to be somebody else, like when he's nearly caught or something, like the ham was strong.
Oh, and
Yes.
and as an old movie fan, it was wonderful for me, especially considering that he relearned how to act like a human from old movies. He was playing Edward G. Robinson. He was playing James Cagney. Of course, we saw him do that. He was playing, some of the really side guys, like in the A Big Sleep and Maltese Falcon and stuff. And he just played all these different characters because that's how he learned it. So
Yeah.
it was great.
Well, it like I was saying, I think this is more of a detective story with some web slinging. But
This was not a superhero film.
Yeah, and
This was not a superhero film.
I liked it a lot.
It was
because of
a lot of character development.
You know
Yeah.
me, I love a character story.
Yeah, if you're looking
Yeah.
if you're looking for it to be like a Marvel
Yeah.
film, it isn't.
It
It's
is
not
not.
going to be like that, and it's not supposed to be. No, it was definitely a detective-y story.
Yes.
It was not the superpower stuff was incidental.
Yeah.
It was almost just like as a plot device rather than like the point of the thing.
It was more of a problem than a solution.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it certainly was a problem for most of them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and
I
Nick
hated
Cage-
that one guy. The electric guy.
Megawatt? Not
I
Megawatt.
hated.
Megawatt?
I think that's what he said at the end.
Yeah,
there.
megawatts, that's what he called
Yeah.
himself.
I despised him. I didn't like listening to him. I didn't
Yeah,
like
his voice
looking
got
at
to me
him.
occasionally.
Well, and-
I thought
and-
I thought he did a
and-
good job, but
Yeah, he did a good job of being a bad actor, and I don't mean that in the sense that the actor was a bad actor, but he was doing a good job of being a frustrated bad actor, being bad at doing the things.
Yes.
Because you didn't like
all of his,
the points that he chose were like only superficially relevant. Otherwise, they were just nonsense.
Well,
like,
and they weren't even direct quotes.
I know he did a good job of being a frustrated bad actor.
Yeah. Yes, he did. That's
But
accurate.
I did not, and it could be that he just pushed some of my buttons as far as like I know people who, not to that extreme, but I know people who do stupid stuff like that. I'm just like, oh jeez. Thankfully, I don't know them well, so people watching
Stage manager.
people
sees
people
lots of
watching
actors.
people
little
watching
bit of
this
theater.
aren't going to think, oh, is it me? Is it me? These people are not people I know well.
It's not you.
Because,
I promise.
Because I wouldn't want to know them that well. But
Well,
yeah, he did a good job of being that. Like I said, it was harder for me to enjoy his bits because
The
I
voice
know
was
the voice, and
yeah.
I know people who edge that way. I don't know anybody who's that extreme by any means.
I mean, just talking about actors, I kind of want to go back to Nick Cage, because I like him so much. But he's been kind of superhero adjacent, with the exception of Ghost Rider, which isn't really a hero, for a while. So in 1998, he was supposed to be the Superman in Kevin Smith's Superman, and then that never was. There's sort of a whole joke in the industry about it. And then in the last Flash movie, they have a small clip where Flash is going through all the universes,
Yeah.
and you see Nick Cage in the kind of scoop-necked cowl Superman outfit that looks very weird.
Yeah, when he was one of myriad Supermans
Yeah.
that were in the.
And I was all like, oh, I appreciate this.
Little nod to
David was like, that's why I won't watch that movie. He does not. I don't know if it's because I like Nick Cage or because David's like, it's just so much and doesn't like him. But it is kind of funny because he knows I'm going to go see him and everything. He did, I can't remember what it was. He did a piece with Pedro Pascal recently, a TV show that there was a meme about it where they're driving in a car. Liked that one too. I like him a lot. And in that one, he plays himself, and he overacts as himself too. I think that's just who he is.
Yeah, it could maybe it isn't acting. Maybe that is how he connects to emotion. Maybe that's just how he is.
Fair.
I don't know.
I enjoyed it in this. I think for black and white, it worked well.
Yes.
I think you need a little exaggeration.
Yeah.
So we know where to look.
Well, I also think it's part of the genre
Yes.
Yeah.
of film noir.
I was jarred the first time he laughed.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was so over the top, and he'd been
Yes.
so character-wise mumbly, and like he just wasn't. And then all of a sudden, he had this huge grin on his face, and he was laughing, and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right then, goodly sir."
Yeah. Or when he's talking after Freckles is cured, okay, what are you gonna do now, Freckles?
Yeah.
I love those.
I kind of hoped they would have found that he got away.
Freckles.
Yeah, that was.
I would have liked to see that. Although I will say, the older Freckles, I was listening and I'm like, I know that guy's voice. I know that guy's voice. It's bloody Garrick from the Cardassian from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, because he has a very specific voice.
Yes.
That man.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very, Mom was talking about with Silvermane. She goes, who is that? Oh, it's Mad-Eye Mooney.
Mad-Eye Moody.
Yeah.
No,
Who plays
it's
the reporter? Robbie. Thank
Robbie.
you. Robbie is a character that I was like, it took me a minute to place him because I'm used to him being a comedic actor, and that was such a kind of handsome debonair, I can't say the word. That word. Debonair kind of kind of character that I was
he
like,
absolutely pulled off.
Oh, no, he did a fabulous job.
Yeah.
I will
enjoyed
say,
him very much.
I don't think anyone in this was bad.
Oh, no.
I was very happy with the casting. I mean, I don't like some of the characters, but that's the point.
Yeah. You're not supposed. Yeah. You're not supposed to like.
So let's just go through it. So, Spider-Man. How'd you guys feel about him or the Nick Cage character?
The Spider.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he was great. He did a really good job playing angsty, PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
Still grieving after 5 years, and who wouldn't be, and especially the circumstances. And I just think he did a good job. I loved his banter. I like Silvermane was right that someday his mouth's going to get him killed.
Well, and I liked Robbie's impression of him.
Oh yes, that was
was
hilarious.
fun.
That is
Why are
the
you
best
talking like
part
that?
That
of
was
the
so
movie.
much fun.
Best
His
part of the entire
impression.
series.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "This is how he talks." No, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I also love
it kind of is.
when he strolls in, impersonating the spider,
Yeah.
and he's really getting into the thing, and Riley has to pull him back. You can't actually fight these guys.
You
Yeah.
will get hurt.
I think you should step back a little bit.
No, aren't you recovering? Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I was put off at one point by how many times they showed the same image of Ruby in the water.
Mm-hmm.
But I then realized, no, that's the point. That's his existence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're being forced upon is
Yeah.
his everyday. He sees that every day.
Yep.
And what is that going to do to you mentally? So I got the point, but at first I was just like, again?
Were you
Well, at one
expecting?
I mean, it's beautifully shot.
And
It
at one
is.
point, it's Cat in there.
Yeah.
So, he sees Cat.
But
in
it's
there
it's
instead.
it's beautifully shot and it's a very powerful image. But after a while, you're just like, again with it. And then but then they're like, no, this is his life. This is
That's all he sees.
this is what's playing in these, every day.
I
That choice.
again love Nick Cage, but I do think the character as a whole of the spider is very appealing. I like a hero that is barely a hero. Like at some point there was some noble purpose that led this man. That wasn't supposed to be a pearl, guys. I'm telling you.
You learn more from knitting than knitting.
Ribbit. Okay. That one's there.
She learned the word frog today.
I
So-
did.
Oh yeah. I didn't know for a while, and because when I first started listening to knitting podcasts, I was like, frog. Because it's not like if you look at knitting books and things, they don't talk about that.
Yeah,
No.
it's not in the abbreviations thing.
Yeah, because
That would be.
they're hoping that you're not going to
Yeah,
frog
please
the
don't
thing that you've
frog
done
it.
from their book. But yeah, so it took me a while to know what that meant.
I thought he was a nicely tortured character, not to the point where you're like, oh my gosh. Just the flashes of it really said, oh, this is a man who isn't suicidal but almost wishes he could be, just so he wouldn't have to deal with this. But he's got too much to do. I liked the character arc of the spider, how he kind of got better.
Oh, I loved the scene with him in the bar after he's gotten the cure.
Yeah.
And he's listening to all these guys making, oh, what about the spider? Well, he's just go there for a photo op. And he looks like my mom after 10 loads of laundry, and stuff. And his reaction, don't you think, he's been through a lot, jumping into fires and saving people. Don't you think he gets lonely?
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, that was... Nick Cage did a great job with that scene. It was very convincing.
If superheroes are human, then we have to, people would have to acknowledge that they would have humanity.
Yes.
But people don't generally go for that. Like, oh, you're
And then that
special.
fight scene afterwards was great.
Yeah.
And the music they played with it was
I mean, I love Sway anyway. That's a great song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
That's a great
and we
song.
love Rosemary Clooney anyway.
Yeah.
So,
And I liked what they did with it though, like because it's not played exactly as it's done, and I don't mean that in the sense that they cut out bits of it and stuff, which they did, but there's like these, like these little things like that, but they're a part of the fight, and they also are a callback to what they did with the first song that Kat sings in the first episode.
Yeah.
Which at first was a little bit weird because that's so out of period, but
so
is Sway, frankly.
Yeah, it's not quite.
that scene where the spider sees her for the first, Riley sees her for the first time, singing. It reminded me so much of in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, of the.
Oh, it is giving Jessica Rabbit vibes. Yeah.
And him seeing her for the first time,
Yeah.
mesmerized. So,
That was very interestingly shot.
It was.
The way it made her head move and stuff was quite interesting.
I also love that headpiece she's wearing. So that was so period. Oh my gosh. So
The costuming is a little hit and miss. They got close. They did probably better than most movies from this era that I've seen. We tend to mix it very heavily 30s, 40s, and they're
Yeah.
different.
and this was obviously during Prohibition, so
Yeah.
very 30s.
Yeah.
So,
They're like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
very
Depression
specific.
era. And I'm like, kind of. Kind of. All right. Other characters. How do we feel about Kat?
She's one of the most reckless characters I've ever seen in the whole of my life.
I hate her so much.
Like, she goes into his apartment. You know, she's already told the story of the dentist being killed.
Mhm.
She goes in a taxi to this man's apartment and goes and opens the door and sits in the window to smoke. And I'm like, how you're not afraid.
no.
You're not afraid. You're not, and you're certainly not afraid for this man who is supposed to be helping you. But also everything, and the only thing that really I didn't believe, the only thing that really I couldn't suspend my disbelief is how did Silvermane not see the death stare she gave him every 5 minutes?
Yeah.
I'm just like, how does he think that's what love looks like? Like
Yes.
that means she stared at him like over like every scene together. She did that, and I was like, how does he not know that you loathe him?
I think he knows. I just don't think he cares.
It was so hollow, her asking the doctor, if I tell you who he is, promise me you're not going to hurt him. Like that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could trust her for that. This person you don't know.
Yeah. So.
I didn't trust her from being the not Kat, the doctor, and I, honestly for the wrong reason, because Dr. Faber just made me think, was she part of the original experiments? Like, why did you give her a German name?
Yeah.
The two main villains was Silvermane, who was the mob boss, and then the doctor, who is really willing to sacrifice anybody to save her child.
Well, and you wonder, all those
crazy.
people who ended up mutated in her lab, what had she done to them? Like, what?
How do you survive that?
And also, the other thing that I wonder is, because then they don't address it, is that they made it clear that people got worse from her treatment.
Yeah.
That it accelerated what was happening.
Yeah, they
to them.
didn't even have manifestations of superpowers until she started working on
and
them.
they didn't discuss at all, like, what was it that she did to them? That
How did we get here?
Yeah. And so I thought that was interesting.
That sort of
we
not
were-
knowing makes it even eviler.
Yeah, so
Yeah, and so-
we're never going to know because she's dead
Yeah.
and her lab is blown up.
And
Well, and those
honestly,
people,
for the better.
If she did something to them that made them worse, what did she do to those people who were so much farther along? Or did she just get to them sooner? I like the kid.
The kid was great.
I love the receptionist.
I like the kid.
Oh, the guy that's supposed to do his geometricals on lovely death.
The secretary becomes his partner at the end. One of the best characters in the whole film, in the whole show. One of the, I mean,
Wonderfully done.
so well played, so honestly played. Like when she's afraid and stuff. Like I absolutely bought everything that she did, and she was so adorable as well.
I'm going to look for other things she's been in because I wasn't familiar with her.
Yeah.
I wasn't either. Probably one of the most realistic reactions to the situation. Like, this is the only character that you're like, this is a real human.
Well, yeah.
Who is going through this with real human emotions, which allows you to kind of ground yourself in that series, because between the Spider and Kat, you're like, oh, no one here has a drop of common sense.
Well, and even Robbie being so driven clouds his judgment.
Yes, absolutely. Still like the character, though.
So
Yeah.
He doesn't have the same kind of like proper perspective, but she absolutely does, and she does the important stuff that needs doing, and
Yeah,
I
paying the
really,
bills.
I really liked her character. I really liked the way she played it.
Yeah.
What a lovely lady.
It was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fantastic.
And I loved what they did with her hair.
It was so well done.
It was so 30s, and it was just so.
Did you curl your hair?
Yeah, it was really good. I didn't watch any of it in color. I'm just gonna
I didn't either.
put it
I
out
watched
there.
it once in color.
I don't want to watch it.
And
in
the reason
color.
I didn't isn't just because I like old films, because a modern film in black and white isn't exactly the same thing. But I did it because that was the intention of the people who made it, and if
Well,
that's
it's
part
all-
of their storytelling, then that's how I want to see it.
Well, and that's noir was invented in black and white.
Yeah.
So
Well, and dark and shadows and things. That was all very much the look. I mean, even in lighter affairs like the Thin Man films and stuff, there were still like the dark shadow moments of stuff. So yeah, I only saw it in the black and white. I have no plans to look at any of it in color.
Yeah, I probably won't either. Besides the black and white, Mom, what makes a noir movie noir?
I looked this up because I've watched a lot, but it's hard when you've watched a lot. You don't tick off things like, oh, this is in noir and this is noir, but they were based on the original noirs were based on a series of books called series noir, which were cheap paperbacks, quote unquote, written by hard-boiled American crime authors. So
Hard-boiled American crime authors.
yes.
They are talking about people like Dashiell Hammett
Yes.
and
okay.
Chandler and
Yeah.
I just had this vision of hard-boiled egg authors, and I
Oh.
was like, I don't
yeah,
know where we're going with this.
no. And like Dashiell Hammett was a Pinkerton operative.
Yeah.
He was
Oh,
a
okay.
private detective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
so-
that's why his stuff is so real.
Yeah, he
and
lived it before he wrote it.
And
Got
good
it.
golly,
Alright.
it's dark.
But the not all the movies contain all these points, but all these points
Or all the books.
are in the noir genre. Is that first of all, you're never supposed to feel like there's going to be a happy ending in the movie. So you look at the Maltese Falcon, or you look at they changed for the Big Sleep for Humphrey Bogart. He was a big noir actor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The Big Sleep, they invented a happy ending for that one for the movie, but that's not how the book ended. But stuff like that, and then it's just mostly filmed at night, and the back alleys of fancy places, and there's taxi drivers, and one of the quotes I liked is the bartender who's seen it all, and that certainly is in
Yeah.
this Spider-Noir because he knows exactly who that is, and he buys him a drink after the fight. I mean,
He wrecks his place.
Yeah.
And he gives him a free drink. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right.
and then there's lots and lots of cigarettes. One of the
Yeah.
I can't remember. I didn't write his name down, but one of the actors that did a lot of noir movies, and but according to the experts on this, and they all disagree and agree on different things.
Like
There's-
all experts.
There's
Yeah.
somewhere between 200 and 600 actual noir movies, depending. Some people are more hardcore, and so there's fewer of them that they think.
Purists.
Yeah, purists.
It didn't hit all of the options.
Yeah.
Just two.
Yeah.
But anyway, this one guy said that he was required to smoke at least 3 packs of cigarettes during the film. So,
Yeah, and that's back when they were smoking actual cigarettes on set.
Yeah.
So.
and then the women were always dressed to the nines, manipulative. You never knew if they were good or they were bad, and they had soft spots for alcoholic private investigators. And also, these women, they just as soon kill you as love you, or vice versa. So, and then the men were always dressed in suits. They had a fedora, some sort of hat, but usually a fedora.
That was
And-
the style of the time.
Yeah. And then they had a heart for protecting youngsters that were involved in things that were basically too big for their britches. You know, they were involved with the hardcore big guys, and the heroes like to help to protect them, and that happened. All of these things were in this series. So
So for context, I mainly read detective fiction, and I read a lot of like pulp noir stuff from the 20s on. The 20s was a little bit cleaner, but it went darker. It went real dark. But Red Harvest by Dashiell Hammett is woo. But I would say that some of those things developed from it being a visual medium.
Yeah.
How often it's in a dark alley is based on the visual medium, and definitely women dress the nines because so many of the women in these books are tawdrily dressed. Like they're not dressed. They're like they're wearing cheap finery or what was once a really nice dress but isn't not a nice dress anymore. Because most of these people, unless they're being hired by somebody high up, most of these people just have they're not rich people.
No, they're like living from store to store. They're involved in some sort of shenanigans to make money, and so they'll make it, and then because they haven't had money, they spend it like water, and then now they're poor again.
Yeah, like that jerk of a wife of the flame dude. Yeah. That's why I say it's a noir film. It is not superheroes. There are superheroes in it. Not superheroes, but like there are people with superpowers. Yeah. But it is not a superhero film. It's a television show. It's not a superhero story, really.
I don't think it could have been done as a movie.
It's a redemption story.
Yeah.
Because it's not a real happy ending, but he's got the happiest ending he could have had.
Well, it happens. I mean, he gets a happier ending than a bunch of them. But like when I think back of the books that I read, so often there is like a redemption arc for the detective, but it doesn't end up with them, laughing with their friends. It ends up with them having an ounce of self-respect.
Yeah. And this you got
basic okayness.
This was a happier ending.
Yeah.
Than in a noir film, Cat or Flint would have been dead.
Yeah.
In a book, they would have been dead.
I think that should have been dead. I just.
Well, that's the thing though, because of the way it is, it probably would have been Flint because then she would have had to live with those consequences. That's
But she wouldn't have. Like, she's Cat. She wouldn't have.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, like
she's just too selfish.
Well, like Flint said, the dirt wasn't even on my coffin when he went off with that detective.
That's why I was so surprised when they kissed, because I didn't believe in a romance between them.
I don't think anyone's in love in this show.
Maybe
the spider's in love, but I don't think so. I think he's in love with the idea of being in a relationship.
No, I think that he likes the idea that he could get a tiny ounce of what he had back.
Yeah.
But he can't.
Nope.
Because Cat isn't.
Oh, even remotely.
I mean, I don't know very much about Ruby, but she seemed very down to earth in his delusion. Yeah, in the delusion. Oh, when that face mask turned into a spider on his face, I'm like, God,
I know.
Who's this?
I know. The horror in this was really quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even though it's cringy and it makes you jump and it's awful, really. And I hate spiders.
She does. She really.
I'm phobic about spiders.
Which is rough because I love them.
I'm afraid of spiders, but I'm not. It's not.
And when he's got it on his face, and then they're coming out of his swoop.
Yeah.
It's like
so good. I will say the visuals on this were next level, and I'm going to say this with all due respect to the MCU, probably some of the best visual representation of terror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I know that this is kind of separate because it's MGM, Sony, or whoever.
Because Sony still technically has the rights.
It was like you're genuinely like, ugh. Mm. And the way Sandman's face slowly starts to turn into Stan, I thought that was, one, impressive makeup work, and two, really like this, it's like eczema gone terribly, terribly wrong.
And that moment when he gathers his strength, when Riley gathers his strength, and he smashes him in between those two cars. And the fact that you can feel it coming, but he's not in his full powers. Like, it takes him a long time, but but it's coming, and then he just shatters into 1,000. Oh, it's so. It was very enjoyable.
And then when he's about to come back, you see the sand quivering, like it's gonna
It
reform.
was, and it pays tribute to all those old school kind of terror things. Like, we do a lot of body horror now. I think that is more terrifying to me, this stuff, than the kind of Saw
the
or
needle
other
in the
things.
eye was kind of.
I didn't mind feeling. I watched Spider-Noir in the dark at my desk with my 2 monitors, and I'm like, I'm fine.
The other thing I enjoyed was there was so much to watch and so much to take in that I had a hard time watching more than 2 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I mean, I'm not a binger by nature anyway, but I can binge something generally. But it was very difficult to watch multiple episodes because I just, like, there was so much to take in every time. And I thought, you know, how many things have you watched recently that you had to, like, take it all in?
Yeah. I am a binge watcher because I seek dopamine. But for this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna come back to this. I don't even think I did more than 2 episodes at a time. Oh no, I did the last 2 together because I didn't like the cliffhanger. So that was.
It was easier to watch the last.
Yeah, those 2, they're kind
It
of.
was actually a lot easier to watch the last 3 together than it was because.
Yeah, no, I see it.
Because it's like sometimes there's a certain point in a book where everything is coming together and I cannot stop from it. I'll put it down if I know that's coming. If I already know, I will put it down before I go to sleep so that I don't read all night.
I have a book that's doing that to me right now. I was up till 2 a.m.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. There's just some point you're just like, no, now I need to get there.
Yeah, now
I need to watch
so close. I think I'm gonna write a book where you're so close and never get there until like book 7. Just constant buildup of drama.
How would you keep upping the ante for something? No, never mind. This is not the time. This is not the time.
I mean, you just have to start low enough.
I suppose.
And you just have to keep introducing more characters who are all invested in the same thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of what Lord of the Rings did.
That's also what Wheel of Time did.
Yeah.
In 14 books.
I guess that's kind of...
And a prequel.
I read a book, which is part of I think it's a trilogy, but they're like this thick. They're really big.
I love
books.
it when one piece of the trilogy is 3 books on its own.
Yeah. No, it's like this book. This big. And it's historic fiction, and it's incredibly densely written. Like, you don't pick up this book to read for 5 minutes. Like, you pick up this book if you know you've got at least 20 minutes to an hour.
Historical fiction writers are a different breed.
And it all takes place in the Age of Enlightenment, and it's all the, you know.
Oh, sounds great.
Oh, it's quite interesting, but you get partway through and you feel like maybe you're going somewhere, and now you're suddenly with different characters.
Yep, that's how you do it.
Like, okay. I mean, yeah, I liked those other guys better. That girl's kind of a jerk. You know, that sort of thing, you know?
Well, and that's the fun part. That's why I love character work so much, because I want to always have another feeling, another perspective, and that's what the characters bring. I think it would lose so much.
Well, it did, because black and white requires shadows and stuff to emphasize certain things in the scene. It hide stuff. It's easier to reveal stuff in black and white, and when his secretary is telling him that he's already told her that he's the spider, and she's telling him the instances, and one of them is she opens it up and he's typing in the spider outfit, and he says, what, you know, or whatever, and then so she shuts the door and the lights out. He just clicks on and puts the lights on. It was nothing in color, but it's everything in black and white.
I do wonder, how did he see through the lights? Like, my retinas, I have questions. I have physics questions.
I think they were just rimmed.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I think when we watch things in color becomes part of the storytelling. And probably one of the best places you see this is Black Panther. That director loves to tell stories with color.
Yeah.
So when it tells you where to look, it tells you how people are associated with each other. And in black and white, you have to make more connections with your own brain instead of kind of being handheld through it. Not that, please continue to do that with color. It makes me very happy. But
just different style. It's just different style.
It is kind of like, oh, you know, in Disney films, this villain isn't green. They're not the bad guy. You know, so. This is the Prince hero because he's in those bright blues with, you know, accents and whites. So when you don't have that, it really makes you look at the character and be like, okay, is Cat a good guy? Is Cat a bad guy? And then honestly, I was like, Silvermane is just a part of the era.
Yeah, but they did make they did a really good job with the lighting and the angles they shot him from, especially in the beginning, to make him look repulsive. I don't mean like. Yeah. I don't think that the actor is repulsive. But the way they shot him, especially in the beginning, and the way they lit him, made him look like a almost like craggy gargoyle kind of thing. You know?
I was gonna say, like, he looks like rock.
Yeah, he just looked grotesque.
You know, and I think that was a good choice because
Okay, we're pearling.
you want, like, with that kind of character, you want to know from the get-go there is no redemption arc for this guy.
Yeah.
There is no way you can get round him to be a human being.
Yeah.
Like, they're just showing him as like, no, this guy, this is what he is, and this is what he is through and through, and that was a nice shorthand for us that we gave it. All right,
And very kind of a palate cleanser as you're trying to sort out what's going on with Kat and Flint and all these people, and then you're like, I know what you are.
yes,
Yeah.
You're the bad guy.
Yep.
Which is sort of reassuring as a person viewing it to be like, oh, okay, I know how he's going to respond because this is how a bad guy responds. And he does. He delivers very well. I think when you look at a movie in black and white, which is truly more grayscale than anything else,
Yeah.
it gives you the entire spectrum of grays and blacks and whites. And it is that kind of in amongst itself, that kind of in amongst itself tells a story too. It's a lot. Yeah, I made sure.
I guess I could have looked at
Well,
it.
and a local, like a Dallas theater does a black
There
and
you go.
white.
There you go.
Yes.
And everything, the set, the costumes, the makeup they're wearing, you look on the stage and the thing is in black and white.
There's either a treatment they do to their mouths somehow to make it
Their
so that-
tongues are
To be
gray.
dark inside
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's all proprietary. Like the people have to sign a non-disclosure thing when they get cast,
So that this
so that they won't.
lives here.
There's like
Yeah.
secrets and stuff, but just so they can keep
Yeah.
their special thing, and it truly is special. It is, and it helps because they are doing more old timey murder mysteries, sort of things usually. It does pull you into that world, and it makes, because I think sometimes when people truly give a 1930s or 1940s performance, that if they look like they're now, it can be jarring to our modern eyes, but to see them in black and white just puts you so completely in that world. It doesn't hurt that they do an excellent job, and the actors they get are amazing. And
Yeah.
Kurt and Barb have put together, that's the people who run Pegasus, and they're just first of all, they're lovely humans, and also they're just really good at putting together teams of people who will make this beautiful art form come to life.
My other favorite part was the bar fight scene.
Oh yes.
Yes, that was
The bar
really
fight scene is probably one of the best done fight scenes I've seen in
Yeah.
a minute. It was very nice.
Yes,
One
it
thing I
was.
would have liked to have seen that we didn't get, but I kept feeling like we were gonna get in the end, was the spider trying to fight the electric guy, while the electric guy and Flint were fighting each other. Because I thought that was where it was going. I mean, his boss told him to do it, and he didn't do it until Kat was threatened. But what had he totally lost? Like, I didn't understand the reasoning for that. But I thought it'd be a really great thing to watch.
Yes.
But we didn't. That's the only thing we didn't get that I would have liked to have had.
Well, I also think that the spider is more conservative. I mean, if he doesn't have to fight, he doesn't want to fight. So if they're already fighting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but he could also be like trying to get them the antidote during that whole.
True. That's very valid.
But he also learned from healing. Well, because actually Robbie did that, but trying to cure Tombstone
Yeah.
is that,
Was that what the character is called?
well, that's who he's being.
Okay.
So.
They call him Tombstone in the credits.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't notice that.
I don't think they ever said anything about it in the
No.
film.
No.
Of course, they only said the megawatt or whatever at the end.
Well, he said that. I don't even think they said Sadman either. So.
Did I just do that because he's Sandman? I'm sorry.
No, I think
No,
He
no,
is
I think-
Sandman.
I think somebody described him that way,
Yeah.
but I don't think that he was ever directly called that.
Oh, no. If you think about it, Megawatt naming himself kind of at the end makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That really bad actor that just wants notoriety. No one else will be it. I am Megawatt kind of
Yes.
thing.
I'm a
Whereas Flint's
star.
character is more like, I'm just trying to survive. I think probably the most endearing character to me is Flint. Because you're like, you just got a bad hand and couldn't walk away. And I'm I don't know. There's still got to be consequences. I don't know. There's never a hero. Even our hero
Well,
isn't
no,
a hero.
because even before he started getting powers, he was a petty criminal
Yeah.
because he couldn't find a job when he got back from World War
I feel
One.
like petty crime is. We have this sort of conceit in cinema that petty crime during Depression era set historical pieces is fine because there was no money.
The people who
Yeah.
have a lot of things, you're still doing down
Yeah.
somebody else who's also struggling.
Robin Man, that. Robin Man? Robin Man.
You mean Robin Hood?
There we go.
Yeah.
Robin
the
Hood
petty
that.
criminals are not Robin Hoods.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Maybe they're
yeah.
Robin Man.
Yeah, and even when they did hand out the cash, it wasn't
ROBBIN, the Robin Man.
when they handed out that cash. Silvermane had them hand out the cash. It wasn't for the benefit of those people. It was to buy their vote.
Yeah.
It was never. It was never altruistic.
No. What was your favorite part, Mom?
All of it. It's very enjoyable. It was just like, even the uncomfortable horror parts were great. It's very entertaining and it's solid and together. It's certainly not in the same. They're not the same effect on you or anything, but I put this right up there with Andor and Loki as far as just enjoyable to watch.
I will say you did not need to know anything about Spider-Man's backstory
Nope.
to enjoy this at all.
No, well,
You can just pick it out, watch it, and
he
go
had
on.
a different backstory anyway. I mean,
Well, I mean, like, you don't have to know anything about Spider-Man, like, oh, how the
Yeah.
web shooters work, because they don't talk about it, do they? Are
No.
his organic, or are
Because
they...
they're
organic,
organic.
yeah.
They're organic. That's why he's going.
yeah. Well, no, then you see it when they actually show him in the hospital. You see, the openings open up and all that kind of stuff. Oh, gosh.
Loyal, what were your favorite parts?
I think they're just the small moments. I really like the relationship between the secretary and the kid. I like,
was
honestly, I
very
like
charming.
the Riley and the kid. I like early on before they brought him into the office. Like I liked
Yeah.
that kind of interaction.
I can't really say that there was anything I didn't appreciate because I just took it as a whole.
Yeah.
I
Nothing that you're like, oh, skip this part? I do that a lot.
No, I don't skip anything. I'm watching the other Bennett sister right now, and the last episode of this season is this week. It's tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. But there's a part in that where she's embarrassing herself in public, and I have to skip by that because I just feel for her too much.
Yeah.
And I mean that's the kind of thing that I would skip through is stuff that makes me uncomfortable for the person that I'm watching, and that's none of that in this. How about you?
I won't say necessarily that it's something that I really didn't like, but because of the lack of chemistry and the unbelievability, if I was going to watch it again, I would skip over the bits where Kat was doing her stuff to Riley because
Oh.
I just don't. I'd be just like, I don't believe. And now that I know the end, like I don't believe a word of it, and I don't.
I mean, it was
It's
hard
sad
to believe
to
it in
see
the
him.
moment.
Yeah, it was hard to believe in the moment, and now I'm just like, well, now I'm just gonna hate her when I watch that.
Yeah. I don't like Kat.
So I wouldn't. So that I would definitely, if we're talking about things we'd skip over.
Future series.
I hope we just never see her again.
Yeah, I mean,
You might see Megawatt because they just threw him in front of a train. They didn't show him dead.
It looked like he exploded, though. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Electricity,
Well,
electricity can disperse and come back together.
Well, look at having a sandman.
Yes.
But I think what is it on all these genres? The superhero genres is if you don't see a body.
Yeah. And even then.
I think the best poetic justice is if they somehow cured him.
Oh, so now
I think
he's no one.
I think
do
that
like
would be
that.
the best poetic justice.
Yes.
It goes back to
do
being
not
a
like him.
subway driver actor wannabe.
Yeah. Overall, I would definitely say if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's worth it. It's worth signing up for Prime for a month if you don't already have it, or find a friend who does. I enjoyed it. It's a nice addition to the Spider Universe. I look forward to seeing callbacks to it in the next Into the Spider-Verse movie. I hope there's a season 2. I hope we get another run of these. Critically acclaimed, just for those of you who are wondering, because it's streaming, I can't give you numbers like box office or Nielsen ratings, but 91% critically acclaimed, and Amazon has signed to keep the rights for a little longer. So there might be a season 2. Though I do feel very happy with season 1. Like, I don't feel like, I need more.
I don't need more,
No.
but more would be acceptable.
Oh, yeah, I'll do another story.
More would be welcome.
Yeah. I do appreciate that they didn't leave us on the, this might happen if you renew us.
They were going to come back. It would be interesting to see, at least, I know that would have to build to something bigger, but like see a bit of Riley and Ruiz working together as, because she's been helping him do the detective stuff. But to see them as full partners, I'd like to see her in full ownership of that and see how they work together in that sense. Yeah. Especially when they can use bits of his powers and stuff to back it up. So it'd be interesting to see a bit of that before it built into the bigger thing.
It would be fun to kind of see her play more of the solving the crime role.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's kind of like the stopping the bad guy role.
Yeah, and I think that an interplay between that and seeing them truly work together would be
very nice. Since he admits, she's a better detective than he is.
Yeah, well, as I said, I'd like to see her fully own her powers and be like...
I could do a series of just her. I could do a series of just her and be fine.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Honestly,
her and the kid is her sidekick.
Yeah. And honestly,
a series of shorts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like it wouldn't need to be a big old series. Like, you could just do bits of stuff and just throw it out. You could just do it
just in the office set.
Yeah.
And just have her be like, oh, yeah, it comes in with, like, some, like, big thing is happening. Like, there's smoke coming off the back of her costume. And then she's like, did you do your homework? All right, let's talk about this. He's just holding, the next time she comes in, he's holding a fire extinguisher. I think that would be fabulous. Yeah, I do need a series of shorts now about them.
I think you need to write them.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Okay.
I've got over an inch done.
Oh, wow.
Today.
Beautiful.
I think I was here when we started. But this is only 13 stitches across, so.
Any idea what you're going to make it?
Yeah, this is 72.
Mm-hmm. This is 82. I only know that because it has to be a multiple of 4 plus 2. Mm-hmm. And I just about doubled it. I think I'm going to do this whole skein of yarn, and I might... Where is it? Where are you, skein of yarn? Here he goes.
Oh, yeah.
I might go and get another one, and then just... I'm kind of liking the idea of fairy chain mail now. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Tell us what your favorite part of Spider-Noir was, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Excellent. I think it's going to be another hour and a half to get the full load. I'm so sorry.